Hi, welcome to the Innovations Devlog for the 13th of October, 2023. Got a lot of interesting things to show you this week, so we'll kick things off with a bit of a swipe game section, and we'll start with some work that Ben Lambert has been doing to do with interrogating the swipe game data. So he's been using databases, vector databases, and various LLM tools to interrogate the data and create custom dashboards and things like that. So I'll show you a clip here.
In the past couple of weeks, I've been working on kind of refactoring the back end of this to make it just easier to use, less expensive, and just better developer experience. So this is the front end. It's in a tool called Streamlit, and it's makes it easy to kind of mock up user interfaces in Python. So we have a chat interface that connects to a vector database that stores session data. And there's some different ways that you can interact with this data. You can ask questions that will pull data from the database and send it off to the language model for querying. You can also run some commands against it to extract data, etc. So I've got some quick commands here just to show what type of commands are available. These are the ones I've built in so far. So let me switch to my code editor because I've saved some commands here. All right, we're going to extract, let's extract topics for the session that I have loaded here. It's this session ID. So this is going to go through all of the data for that session. It's going to extract topics based on the theme of e-commerce, and it will return this in a second. So, all right, so that pulls data from the database, sends it off to the language model, and extracts themes, extracts topics based on that theme. We can do interesting things like we can show it in different ways. So this has been helping me to debug, just to be able to see the data in different ways. This is the pulling from metadata that I've pre-extracted. We can view it in different visualizations. So we can see based on bar chart. I want it to be a vertical chart, but I haven't had availability to do that. We can generate word clouds. And we can ask it questions about the data. Let's see, what team name? So overall, what I've been working on is just trying to shore up all of the backends so that we can do more meaningful insight extraction once we have additional session data that's in the format that we have kind of landed on.
Next up, here's some work from Marcus. Marcus has been kind of working on the future of development for content generation for the swipe game. So he's been implementing generative agents, which take the form of various language models that take on the personas of the different characters in something like the swipe game. And I'll let him explain it.
So what I've got, what I'm investigating is using generative agents. So that means spinning up multiple instances of, think of it as ChatGPT, and each of them has like a particular personality, a particular role, and then like setting them loose and having them have conversations with each other towards like some unified goal. And with the idea that this would be to generate content for a game such as the swipe game. What I have got is I've taken a situation and some characters from the swipe game. So I took a particular scenario. We want to invest in digital retail media to drive conversions. Should we invest in banner ads or in sponsored listings for relevant search queries? That's just one of the cards that's in the swipe game. And I gave it 4 characters: Victoria, the chief operating officer, the brand manager, the search specialist, the e-commerce specialist. And I specified that Victoria, the COO, was what's called the director. So she's going to direct the conversation. So Victoria starts and she says, well, as the chief operating officer, I believe it's crucial, blah, blah, blah. And she then, this is kind of an important thing, is that she picks the next speaker. So she gives her little spiel, which would just be this section, and then that's fed back to her, and she is asked as a separate prompt, which of the other characters do you think should speak next? Which is the most relevant character? Is it like the retail manager or the brand manager? And then the LLM will pick and come back, and it turns out it's James, who I can't remember, was maybe the retail manager, let's say, and she's then asked to generate a little prompt to James and says, James, as our brand manager, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. How do you think investing in sponsored listings, blah, blah, blah. And then that is literally fed as a prompt to James. And James, the character of James, says, well, I couldn't agree more. As the brand manager, I believe, blah, 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 blah. And it then is like passed back to Victoria. And Victoria says, absolutely, James, that's amazing, great, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. The whole conversation is then fed back and said to Victoria, now who do you think who's the most relevant person to speak next? Evidently, she decided on Becky, the search specialist. So again, a prompt is generated. Becky, as our search specialist, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. That is fed to Becky, and Becky said, well, Victoria and James, I couldn't agree, so blah, blah, blah. The conversation goes on. It's always handed back to Victoria, and Victoria then decides who speaks next. And they eventually they come to a conclusion, and they all start agreeing or whatever. But this, at the moment, this is just sort of simulating a conversation. But where I intend to go with it is that Victoria character, the director character, won't actually be speaking to you won't see that going on. There'll just be this like disembodied AI that decides which character is going to speak next and prompts them with a particular question. Here's what's going on in the world. Who's the most relevant character to speak? It will then feed a prompt to one of the characters in the game, and then that character will do a little snippet of dialogue that would go on the card of like, hey, and the part of the prompt would be to come up with some kind of dilemma for the player, ask the player's advice around this conversation. And so you start to have this like quite directed experience where there is an LLM that is never actually directly exposed to the player, but what they're doing is kind of like deciding which character is the most relevant to speak next, what they should talk about in order for it to be either narratively dramatic or like gameplay interesting, or so on. And so we might have potentially even a couple of these, like you might have a narrative director and also gameplay director and also a learning director, and just like by having these multiple LLMs, each of them with their own responsibility, their own personality, even, that you can start to like play them off against each other, and you can start to have the characters quite you're actually simulating one of the characters, the retail manager, or let's say the third party retailer, will have like a specific goal that he wants to achieve, and he might not even like what he says is just based on what would actually happen in that scenario. And then it's like the director's role to kind of like guide that into a way that makes more sense in the sort of narrative of the game.
And as another bit of Swipe Game updates, we're getting a lot of requests at the moment for Swipe Game, which is really good, really exciting. There's lots of people that want it. There's lots of people that are excited about it. What I do ask is that you come to me and then we have a talk about it, because what I'm doing is putting together all of those requests. We're working on getting the Swipe Game into platform in all the various ways that it needs to be considered in order for scalability, different clients, different needs, as well as pricing as well. So bear with us as we figure out what that process is going to look like. We're very early in the prototype stage still in terms of the functionality, but we're planning to move on that quite quickly. So feedback, ideas, requests, that stuff is super useful. and I'm trying to keep it in the kind of central place that we can use to then bring it forward. So bring it to me, basically. Now, onto the soft skills prototype, the AI conversational chat tool that I've been building with the team. This is kind of early days with it, but this week I was able to test it with some people in the office. It currently only runs on my machine, so I can only do it kind of in person, but it was really helpful to get some people using it. So you can see a couple of people using it here.
Hi, good to meet you today. Let go.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
Alex, I think that you should get someone to help you, someone in your team.
We can work on a full proposal. Does that sound good?
Is this to try and help people sort of like practice conversations in a safe sandbox training environment? Now going back into it, I would be more mindful and just be like, okay, it gets that.
Flo, what she was saying back to me matched what I said. Perhaps it was just a bit too lengthy.
People had a lot of thoughts, a lot of feedback. It was all super helpful, and I'm working on getting it into a browser-based version soon so I can get it out to more people and testing it. So any questions are very welcome, and if you want to come and try it in the office, what I'll do is probably set up on a Thursday at various places around the office, probably in like the Circus Street section, and then you can come and try it out, have a chat with the AI character and see how you do. One of the aspects that we're trying to explore with the soft skills prototype is this idea of AI characters, 3D AI characters that can seem realistic and you can talk to. And an important factor of that is the animations that you implement, basically. So Nicole has been doing some work with some motion capture data that we captured earlier last week, and I'll share that now. It's a bit of a process.
Hi, I just wanted to show you a little bit of the process of bringing motion captured animation into Unreal Engine. So this is some footage we got from Rococo with Cooksey in the mocap suit. And this is what it's brought into Unreal Engine. And you can see we've got a full skeleton hierarchy and all the rest of it. Obviously the hands are a little bit weird at the moment, but that's fine. So what we have to do is now tell Unreal Engine we want to take this data and apply it to our metahuman characters. So we use this tool, which is a retargeting tool, which will basically sort of go, okay, well, if this is the hand of our metahuman, we want you to copy the hand of our Rococo import. So we have this retargeting tool, and now if we load the animation, it's now copying that information. So what I didn't see was what it was doing to the hands, and let me just show you that. We have got some wild stuff going on with the fingers. So there you go. Just a little bit of an insight into some of the stuff we have to do. Obviously, I'm going to have to do a lot of cleanup just to get this behaving itself properly. And yeah, just get that movement correct. But there you go. That's one of the joys of this sort of work.
So something else I've been spending a little bit of time on this week is diving back into Aximmetry and Unreal Engine and building a functioning 3D text system, a dynamic 3D text system. And what that means is that we can have graphics within the virtual production world. So whether it's like Web3 or Circus Street stuff or whatever it is, whatever we do virtual production in the future, we've got this ability now to put in 3D text into the environment that can change on the fly. So that can be live when we're shooting live, or it can be done afterwards. But it's fully rendered real-time 3D text that you can place in the environment that interacts with the environment and also the characters and the people that we put in there, the presenters. So hopefully that opens up some possibilities in the future of some things we might be able to do with it, which is kind of exciting. So that's it. A lot of stuff this week. I'll share some of the longer sections of the video as well as the recording of our weekly summit in the description. And again, everyone is welcome to that session. It's a session we run every week, 2 o'clock on a Friday. and it's where we kind of show things we've been working on, talk about them, discuss new things, and then work out where we go from there. So see you later.